Midwives Ghana is set to embark on a two-day peaceful protest in Accra on October 2 and 3, 2025 to demand payment of their salary arrears. Ahead of CSO's meeting with the president over issues of Galamsey, Imani Africa President Franklin Cudjoe is calling on the government to take bold action against illegal mining instead of relying on endless discussions. The residents of the Bentana and Gosi electoral areas in the Adentan municipality are expressing deep frustration over the collapse of a major bridge that links their communities, leaving them stranded and struggling to carry out their daily activities. There's many more coming up shortly. Now to our first story, the Interior Minister Muntaka Mohammed Mubarak has commended the Ghana Police Service for utilizing cybersecurity tools to tackle cross-border crimes, particularly online crimes. Now speaking at the National Cybersecurity Awareness Dialogue, Interior Minister emphasized the importance of collaboration between financial institutions to effectively combat these threats. First, let's listen to the President's speech.
It's become more sophisticated. Sometimes you just entertain yourself when you hear a very cyber-aware person who they try to scam, and they play along, and the conversation is normally very interesting. Free MTN. I mean, MTN will call you in tree. First thing, if they manage some good English, please, we are calling you from MTN, and your number has been blocked, so we want to unblock it for you. Your Mumbo pin has been unblocked. Then they start leading you. And some of these, I respect those of our citizens. They say, oh, is that so? It says, yeah, so I'm going to send you a code. When I send you a code, repeat it to me so that I can unblock your Momo pin. The most interesting one is this guy who pretends to be a stammerer and says, so read the number for me quickly. One. I wish that all our citizens will be that aware that your bank won't call you, your telecom provider won't call you and ask for your personal details. And so this is a very important month and a program. Some are romance scams, and recently we've been collaborating with our international partners when evidence is gathered and it's proven that people are involved in romance scams. Using our extradition treaties, we ship the culprits back. And so we'll continue to collaborate with all our global partners. Anybody involved in romance scams, whether you are a foreigner or you are a Ghanaian citizen, we will hand you over to be tried and punished accordingly. There are also inside jobs. I mean, some people are employed within financial institutions and they manage, because they are in there, to be able to take advantage of the system. And so the Bank of Ghana and the cybersecurity agencies have arrested a few such, and punishment is normally very swift. And the people are sanctioned for what they do. But there are also other forms, like hate speech to create division amongst people. People intentionally post messages that will pit one ethnic group against the other. That is also becoming very commonplace, and it's something that our cybersecurity authority and allied agencies must look at. Ghana is not immune. We too have encountered cyber fraud cases, phishing attacks, identity theft, and other digital crimes that harm individuals and businesses alike. As we expand digital public services and mobile money usage, we must reinforce the systems that safeguard them. But policies and programs alone are not sufficient. Institutions are important. And that is why, in accordance with the Cybersecurity Act 2020, Act 1038, out today inaugurate the Joint Cybersecurity Committee, the JCC. The JCC brings together representatives from across all our security and intelligence sectors to collaborate closely with the Cybersecurity Authority. Its purpose is to ensure coherence, coordination, and proactive measures in our national defense against cyber threats. This is a vital step. Cybersecurity must not be fragmented. It demands unity of purpose, a clear strategy, and disciplined education.
Minister for Communications Sam George has also been speaking. Let's listen to him.
The leadership of His Excellency President Mahama has developed sectoral set ecosystems, which currently has in operation the banking and finance sector set, hosted by the Bank of Ghana, the telecommunications set, hosted at the National Communications Authority, the government set, hosted at the National Information Technology Agency, and the National Security Sector set, hosted at the Signals Bureau. These sets have significantly strengthened Ghana's national cyber incident response framework as they operate in close coordination with the national set located at the Cybersecurity Authority. This enhanced coordination, ladies and gentlemen, improves incident response, facilitates interagency collaboration, and enables the timely sharing of information to manage cyber threats effectively. Currently, guidelines for accrediting additional sectoral sets are underway. As we await the completion of this process, we look forward to expedited action for setting up the other sectoral sets in critical sectors such as energy, health, academia, transportation, and the military. This will significantly boost our national capacity to detect, mitigate, and recover from cyber incidents and attacks. As part of this national effort, the government remains fully committed to strengthening our legal and institutional frameworks. Due to the evolving nature of cybersecurity and the need to stay ahead of threats, the Cybersecurity Act 2020, Act 1038, is currently under review by the Ministry to ensure that our laws remain robust, responsive, forward-looking, and capable of addressing emerging threats. Your Excellency, the CSA, in the last 9 months of your administration, has collaborated in an unprecedented manner with the Criminal Investigation Department of the Ghana Police Service to combat cybercrime syndicates. This has led to the arrest and detention of several suspects numbering in the hundreds this year alone. To ensure swift prosecution, we're working closely with the Office of the Attorney General and the Ministry of Justice to establish a specialized court to handle cybercrime issues. We express our gratitude to the Director General CID for the enhanced collaboration we have enjoyed with her outfit. Furthermore, measures are being implemented to establish sustainable financing mechanisms for cybersecurity. We're committed to establishing the Cybersecurity Fund, protect critical information infrastructure, and build capacity across all sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, according to a study by IBM, human error is the primary cause of 95% of cybersecurity breaches. That is, unintentional actions and inactions by employees and users can cause, spread, or facilitate security breaches. As the saying goes, you are only as secure as your weakest link. Thus, if we were to create the digitally resilient Ghana we envision, every citizen must be empowered with the proper knowledge, tools, and habits to stay safe online. We cannot leave anyone behind.
Now let's listen to the Minister of the Interior, Muntaka Mohammed Mubarak.
Remain steadfast in addressing these challenges, and at the heart of this national effort is the Ghana Police Service, which continues to play a pivotal role in protecting our cyberspace. The Cybercrime Unit of the Ghana Police Service proudly participated in the Operation Contender 3 in August 2025, a major initiative led by the Interpol, which brought together 14 African member states to combat cybercrime and dismantle transnational criminal networks across the continent and beyond. I'm pleased to note that Ghana distinguished itself during this operation by emerging among the top performing countries. Our cyber crime unit successfully arrested 68 suspected cyber criminals, identified 108 victims, and seized over 885 electronic devices linked to illicit activities. This remarkable achievement underscores the unwavering commitment of the government of Ghana to safeguarding our digital space, protecting our citizens, and contributing to the global fight against cybercrime. I would like to highlight the following 5 key areas through which the Ghana Police Service is advancing the fight against cybercrime and strengthening national cybersecurity: crime investigation and digital forensic, intelligence gathering and threat monitoring, capacity building and specialized training, public awareness and stakeholder engagement, and lastly, international and interagency collaboration. Your Excellency, it is gratifying to note that the Ghana Police Service, through its specialized cybercrime and digital forensic unit, is far advanced in investigating a wide range of cases, including mobile money fraud, online impersonation, sexual extortion, and financial cyber crimes. Notably, the modern digital forensic laboratory has been equipped to examine seized digital devices such as computers, mobile phones, and storage media to ensure that credible evidence is produced in court to secure justice for victims. Ladies and gentlemen, in this fast-evolving landscape, proactive intelligence gathering and threat monitoring are essential. To this end, the Ghana Police is employing cyber intelligence tool, opening source intelligence techniques, and international data sharing platform to identify, track, and neutralize threats before they escalate. This proactive approach has allowed the police to...
Away from that, the Coalition of Unpaid Nurses and Midwives Ghana is set to embark on a 2-day peaceful protest in Accra on October 2 and 3, 2025 to demand payments of their salary arrears. The coalition, comprising more than 6,500 registered nurses and midwives, claims that despite repeated appeals to the authorities, no concrete solution has been provided to address their grievances. This is not the first time the nurses and midwives have protested over unpaid salaries. In September, a similar protest was staged over 7-month salary arrears. The government had claimed that over 7,000 nurses and midwives had been paid, but the coalition disputed this claim, citing a lack of transparency and clarity on the payments made so far. The prolonged delay in paying the nurses and midwives has raised concerns about the potential impact on healthcare delivery in the country, with the coalition vowing to continue their protests until their demands are met. The healthcare sector may face further disruptions. Nana J is the organizer for the Coalition of Unpaid Nurses and Midwives Ghana, and he has joined us via Zoom. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, madam.
Thank you for joining us. Now, what are the specific key issues for which you are serving notice to embark on this protest?
All right, thank you for the opportunity given, and good afternoon to every Ghanaian, especially nurses and midwives listening to me. We are the Coalition of Unpaid Nurses and Midwives. Our fight, whatever we are demanding now is our unpaid salary allowance. We've been at post since December. Some of our colleagues started work in December, others also started in January. So we've been at work for 9 months and then 10 months without receiving a penny, which has made things very, very difficult for us, especially we are not able to meet our basic needs. So our demand is we need our monthly salary, of which we've worked for 9 to 10 months. That is what we are demanding.
And we have information that you recently met with government. How do you respond to claims that the government has made efforts to address the issues of unpaid salaries?
Yes, for the Coalition of Unpaid Nurses, we had several engagements with our employer, that is the Ministry of Health, and to the extent of Ministry of Finance. We've had more than 8 consecutive times meeting, but it looks like the same reassurance that they've been giving to us. And then when we are to talk about reassurance, we are the health workers, we are the health professionals, we are the best people to give reassurance. By this time, the reassurance that our employers and then our those who are supposed to pay us are giving is enough. For 8 consecutive times, they are still giving reassurance, of which we've been at post for 10 months, and not getting a penny. We are finding things very, very difficult.
Okay, and are there any plans to escalate this action if your demands are not met with what you're demanding for, and what will the action be?
Yeah, definitely. We are not alone. We'll be involving our mother association, that is Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. So whatever decision that we are taking, we are in consultation with our mother association. So if the government fails to provide our basic needs, that is the money that we've worked for, definitely we are going to engage our mother association again. Whatever step that we are going to take, we'll make it known to the public.
All right. Thank you very much for speaking to us. We were talking to Nana J, who is the head of the Coalition of Unpaid Nurses Association. And away from that, Imani Africa President Franklin Cudjoe is calling on the government to take bold action against illegal mining known as galamsey instead of relying on endless discussions. Now, ahead of a high-level meeting between civil society organizations and the government, Franklin Cudjoe expressed skepticism about the meeting's purpose, questioning whether it will yield concrete results. He spoke in an earlier interview with Ifoando.
I think that the whole idea of meeting at the presidency is, quite frankly, to me, I really do not know the essence of this meeting at all, except to say that we're going to meet and greet, and then maybe ask ourselves, how do we solve this matter? Something we've been dealing with, we've been anguished and we've been angry about for the past, how many years? Maybe 6 years. So I think that apart from, as I said, apart from maybe the president wants some sort of company and he wants some reassurance that actors within the space, civil society actors within the space, still believe that he's got what it takes to deal with them. I'm saying, if that is what he wants, then that is obviously self-reassuring, because we definitely will be able to give him that type of camaraderie, right? We'll definitely meet with him and then judge or. But I think what should be interesting, or what we should be interested in, is to ensure that from Friday, 10th October, until the following month, or maybe even after, until the following month in November, we must have some yardsticks, some KPIs, key performance indicators that we are guided by. Otherwise, it will be a waste of our time. And the next time a meeting like that is called, I will not attend.
So you're not going out there with great expectation?
No, not that I'm not going there with great expectations. Of course, I'm not going there with great expectations, because already, frankly enough, we already know what the issues really are, and we know what actions are to be taken. And I have to confess to you, I take the position of the president when he says that, look, there are many interventions that are at our beck and call, and we can actually deploy some of them without necessarily going for the full or state of emergency. And even on that, we believe at Imani that we should have targeted, specialized emergency situations. So there are certain hotspots that we think are prone to galamsey. You probably want to localize the state of emergency in these areas, and then go ahead and give us some key performance indicators. Let's say that by a particular month, by a particular week, or by a particular quarter of the year, we would have been able to attain these particular goals. So, to be frank with you, I think beyond just meeting to reassure ourselves that the fight is winnable, I don't know what else the meeting is about. I mean, I don't think there's any superb idea that is going to come from somewhere.
You think it's needless? We don't need this meeting? Don't you think it could make a difference? No, I'm asking,
no,
you think it's...
So we don't need a meeting. What I'm trying to say is that because there's no agenda, I mean, it's just meeting to discuss galamsey, that's all.
This month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Breast care advocates in Ghana are pushing for early detection and the right to care to prevent deaths related to breast cancer in the country. Now, speaking at the launch of the 2025 Pink October Breast Cancer Awareness Month, President of the Breast Society of Ghana, Dr. Josephine Nsafo, noted a late detection of the cancer, usually at stage 3 and 4, contribute to the high numbers of death. Hence, the theme for this year, early detection, treat right, survive it. There's more in this report.
Breast cancer is a leading cause of deaths of women in Ghana, with an annual rate of about 2,000 deaths according to the Breast Society of Ghana. Speaking at the 2025 media launch of the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is in October, dubbed Pinktober 2025, a member of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health, Dr. Mohammed Sharif Abdul Halik, stressed on some interventions by this incumbent government to support treatment.
The agenda is for improving healthcare financing and providing a targeted relief for underprivileged patients in our country. Indeed, full operationalization of the trust fund will provide a much-needed relief for patients with non-communicable diseases and ensure prompt access to medical care, which would reduce the high mortality rate associated with such diseases, particularly breast cancer. It is envisaged that the fund will not only support financing of the cost of treatment for eligible beneficiaries, but it will also provide resources for the procurement of critical medical equipment to facilitate access to accurate diagnosis and early detection of chronic diseases.
Stakeholders present acknowledged challenges breast cancer fight in the country has been faced with and called for collective efforts to reduce deaths. President of the Breast Society of Ghana, Dr. Josephine Insafo, stressed on the need to reach women across Ghana.
We are advocating for mammogram machines and the human resource that needed to man them. And also, we know that we have every treatment modality necessary available in Ghana. So we are also encouraging people not to fear the treatment, because treated right, breast cancer is curable. And so we are appealing also for governmental and non-governmental agencies to decentralize treatment such that it will be available across all across all the regions of the country.
A breast cancer survivor who has lived 19 years after her mastectomy shared her experience.
I wish I knew many other things apart from the fact that there has to be a lump in your breast. You have to feel it. I saw many signs. Of course, it wasn't swollen, but a little blister, I may call it, not knowing it was growing inside until my nipple dented. That was when I got to the hospital. Also, for many years, I was getting boils under the armpit, which I didn't know was a sign. So these are a few signs that people should see.
Statistics show that about 5,000 breast cancer cases are recorded each year in Ghana. Data also suggests that about 1 to 3% of males are affected by breast cancer. On the back of these figures, stakeholders are calling for intensified education on early detection beyond the month of October to curb the death rate. The theme for this year's awareness is Detect Early, Treat Right.
A member of Parliament for Jirapa and Vice Chair of the Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration Committee, Kletu Seidu Dapila, has issued a strong call for increased male involvement in breast health, specifically encouraging men to massage their wives' breasts as a method of examination.
This breast cancer issue is something that we need not just 1 month to do it, but at least when they are coming out with their actions plan, we need to always have it. All the chief zones, the health directorate, the regional health directorate, they should, and I know they always have it. They always have it in their action plan. In my constituency, for instance, the health directorate, they organize it anytime. They just don't wait for October to do it. That's why I'm commending the municipal health director for some of these things. Because it's not when you see somebody being affected by breast cancer, it's an eyesore. Yeah. It's an eyesore. And the cost of treatment is also the problem. Yeah, it's so expensive to be treated. The operation is so expensive, the medication is so expensive. So I'm happy that there are many individuals and NGOs that, has come out to be supporting people who are infected with breast cancer. So by and large, it's something that the men should pay attention to.
Right.
And the women should also pay attention to themselves because they carry the breast. We will always come in to support. How do we support? How do we support? I'm sure within this month, every man is encouraged to at least be, you should, when the men are encouraged to, more you want to laugh at me, don't. You let me make my point.
To other stories, residents of the Gbentana and Gosi electoral areas in the Adentan constituency have expressed deep frustration over the collapse of a major bridge that links their communities, leaving them stranded and struggling to carry out their daily activities. There's more.
The bridge, located within the Foster community, was destroyed following heavy floods that also washed away several roads in the constituency. Commuters, motorists, and commercial drivers says the situation has cut them off from essential routes needed for transportation and trade.
Because of
you can see for yourself the roads are not good because of the floods. This has been here for quite some time now, and we are expecting leadership to work towards it. We are expecting the government to also come in and intervene. Well, yes, we've seen that leadership came here at a time when the flood happened. The MP for Adenta came here, the MCE was here, the housing minister was also here. But we are looking forward to see more. Something should be done about it so that we can have access routes to the next community and work. In response to the growing concerns, the Adentan District Roads Engineer disclosed in an interview that plans are underway in collaboration with the Hydrological Authority of Ghana to reconstruct the bridge.
With this embankment, if we don't support this embankment, and in case there's a disaster, another heavy rain, and this dam get burst, the people down there, I know, this expand up to Nana Krum and whatever. Yes, as I'm speaking now, what I know, the Hydrological Authority has made plans for it, they've budgeted for it, they've made a program for it, and they've sent it to the higher authority, that's the ministry, for onwards approval, so that they can come and then tackle this issue. Because this, why I said this could have been done yesterday, because the assembly capacity cannot take care of this. Because the assembly, we attempted to, take care of it by filling the embankment and do the necessary good to this dam. But we realized the cost coming out, the assembly IGF cannot support this project.
The municipal chief executive also confirmed that the assembly has held consultations and is committed to addressing the challenge, describing the situation as a major worry for the people.
I am even very particular about that bridge than any other person should be, because of course, if we get it fixed, it is to my credit, and it would even give the people some kind of assurance that if we say we are bringing decentralization to their doorstep, then we know what we are talking about. My good people of Gbentana electoral area, I want to assure you, I feel your pain, and I know how you are so passionate about that bridge, because we have some school children using that bridge. We have people selling and buying from that area. We even have the at a point it became a business area, because you could see that we had some motor guys also positioned, the commercial drivers and all that. I know how it feels to find yourself in such a situation. I want to assure you that, very soon we'll get it fixed.
Metro News has been here. We are assessing the place. We will surely, come to a halt of completion where the people of Betan and Kose electoral area will smile once again. For Metro News, my name is Dominic Nana Kwamina Ansapra.
Well, that's it for the news update. My name is Harriet Taddy. We're taking a quick break. We'll be back with more with Annie Pampapo.
In life, choice is good, but choice plus safety is way better. Your safety and comfort is paramount. Under the cylinder recirculation model, you can buy LPG in a safe environment. All cylinders are inspected and maintained to the best safety standards, so your safety is assured. Just take your empty cylinder to the nearest exchange point and swap it for a filled cylinder. Different cylinder sizes will be available to meet your pocket size. Imagine cooking in a smoke-free environment. This will improve the health and well-being of you and your family. Choose LPG in a safer model of distribution. Cylinder recirculation model. Securing your safety. Creating more jobs. A message from the National Petroleum Authority under the patronage of the Ministry of Energy.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame? As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
I'm the second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again? Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa, dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late? Of course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. You go be the luckiest. Copy from Georgia be luckiest. From not the cause she be luckiest. Yeah, you go be luckiest. No matter why you're lucky. Everybody go be that luckiest.
That's Kwame!
Send your God up boom. If you're poor, what's that? So would the coming of the Son of Man be.
Hey!
Is that his car?
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompt and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
Hooray, Ghana! The Ministry of Transport and its agencies invite you to the Ghana Transport and Logistics Fair 2025. It's the first of its kind in Ghana. From 22nd to 24th October 2025, the World Trade Center Accra comes alive with cars, ship, train, logistics and plane dealers all in one place. Are you a modern car dealer? Do you sell electric vehicles? Then this fair is your platform to shine. Students and the general public will experience free electric car test drives, thrilling maritime showcases and even free helicopter rides. All 15 agencies under the Ministry of Transport, plus global car dealers, airlines, logistic giants and investors will be there with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama as our guest of honor. Register now at info.digitaligh.org 0244-613-246 or visit our website www.transportlogfair.org. The Ghana Transport and Logistics Fair 2025. Beyond movement, resetting Ghana's transport future.
When the day ends, the real stories begin. Michael Addo.
Updates with lawyers for former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta.
Efua Ando. Sandra Ofosu. Equia Ababio. Dominic Ansapra.
We're bringing you the latest in the world of business.
Sharp, precise, compelling, unmissable, uncompromising. News Night. Tonight at 7 p.m. Only on Metro TV.
Some loves are born in the blink of an eye.
I've been madly in love with her since the first time I saw her. Then let's get married today.
I'll be the happiest woman in the world by your side.
And they kill your soul in a flash. Televisa presents You Are the One. Angela dreams of keeping her promise to be a great doctor and help her people. To Alvaro, ambition is stronger than his dream. And this greed will lead him to commit the worst betrayal to the woman he loves.
I will have a husband no matter what.
Samantha, will you please marry me?
To turning all her dreams into painful disappointments and dangerous consequences.
I've been waiting for you to answer my calls, Alvaro. I haven't heard anything from you. I've sent you so many messages, but you've never responded.
Have you left the bus station?
I just want to pay my debt and get out of here.
Her photographs are going to sell fast, and she will be our gold mine. Our clients will love those.
Are you looking for a boyfriend? Are you all right?
You Are the One, proudly sponsored by The Luckiest, Appointed Time Printing, Time Herbal Mixture, Samu Spices, Givers Herbal Center, Blue Jeans Energy Drink.
This week on Titans and Trailblazers, I host Nana Banamwa, and I've captioned my interaction with her, The Audacity of Hope.
I'm a proud feminist, one who believes in equal opportunities for both men and women.
She's going to come and speak to us about how Africa can get better.
We are getting into the digital space. We are becoming innovative, but we should continue to be innovative without losing our gatekeeping role in our ethics. The media houses need to start paying personnel well. If you're paying the cameraman 1,000 cedis a month, what exactly do you expect the cameraman to do?
Don't miss it. It's going to be explosive with Nanaba. See you on the show.
Apologies, sir. If you didn't hear what I said, you're welcome back to the program. And we're thanking Harriet Adi for coming through with the stories gathered by the news team. We are delving more into the stories, but we are, throwing our lenses on one of the biggest projects or policies, I'll say, that has been unrolled by the current administration in the reset agenda, and that is what we call the Mahama Cares. Now, a little brief, let me just give you that brief before I introduce a guest to you. So what started as a campaign promise has become the reality as President John Dramani Mahama on 29th of April 2025 officially launched the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, also known as the Mahama Cares. Now, the landmark initiative aimed at providing financial assistance to individuals living with chronic diseases across the country. The fund seeks to cover the cost of care and medication for non-communicable diseases, and also not currently included under the National Health Insurance Scheme. Now, thereby complementing it by supporting critical aspects of these conditions. Additionally, the fund will invest in health infrastructure, medical equipment, and specialist training and research to enhance access to quality healthcare. The fund is also currently touring all the health facilities across the country to get first-hand information to help effectively deliver on its mandate. The guest this afternoon for this program is Dr. Norbert Kipple. I hope that I get the name rightly. Dr. Norbert Kipple, Health Policy Advisor, Ghana Medical Trust Fund, otherwise known as Mahama Cares. Good afternoon to you, and you're welcome. I hope you're well. So we called one of your bosses for this, interview, and the response was that you are the one giving all the information, all the technical information to everybody else. So we should come to your quarters. So we decided to reach out to you and see if you will hear us. So we're grateful once again for coming on to the program.
I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you. Glad to have you. All right, so we'll go straight into the issue. It's Mahama Cares. Give us a little intro for every simple Ghanaian to get the understanding in its simplest form.
Thank you very much. So the official name is the Ghana Medical Trust Fund. And like you rightly mentioned, it was launched somewhere in April, and the president assented to the bill in July. And the purpose of this fund is to mobilize financial resources and support the provision of specialized medical care for individuals that are suffering from non-communicable diseases. And simply put, when we talk about non-communicable diseases, these are diseases that you don't spread to another person through contact, airborne, sexual, and the rest. So the reason why there was attention on non-communicable diseases is that, some 20, 30 years ago, the attention was on the reverse, the communicable diseases.
Yeah.
So we paid so much attention to malaria, so much attention to tuberculosis, HIV/AIDS, and rightly so, because at that time, the data showed that those were the devastating illnesses. But there has been a shift over the years. And recent statistics shows that about 43 to 45% of all age mortalities in Ghana, that's all deaths put together, from childhood, middle age, old age, all deaths, 43 to 45% of them are attributable to non-communicable diseases. And this is the reason why we have to pay attention to non-communicable diseases as well. And the diseases of interest are hypertension, diabetes, you hear of strokes, kidney diseases are on the rise, cancers are also on the rise. And this made the president think about Ghanaians and feel like we need a dedicated institution to be able to mobilize funds and ensure that we provide specialized medical care for individuals who have this condition. So our mandate is basically put in four. The first has to do with providing financial support to patients who are suffering from non-communicable diseases.
Mm-hmm.
The second has to do with training our medical professionals, the medical doctors, the nurses, the biomedical engineers, because they'll be working with sophisticated equipment for diagnosis and treatment, and it's important that you have the technicians to be able to ensure that these machines are maintained well and they can quickly fix them when they break down. The third one has to do with medical research. This is particularly important because, we discover new information through research. We add up to old information through research. And most of the research in the medical world are usually done from abroad, and the samples are Caucasian in origin. These are the white people. And we admit that there are peculiarities when it comes to our genetic makeup as blacks, and also importantly, our socio-economic background also affects the way we develop diseases and how we handle them. So it's important that we are able to uncover new information that is skewed and customized for our setting, such that it is relevant and we can understand what are causing some of these illnesses, why they are on the rise lately, and we can develop more treatment and diagnostic protocols that best fit our setting. Then the third one has to do with providing equipment and infrastructure to the hospitals. In as much as we want to make healthcare affordable, it is also important that we make it accessible. There's no point paying for a patient's diagnostic workup for, say, stroke, and they get to the hospital and they can't get CT scan services, then it becomes a problem. So in as much as we are paying medical bills, or we hope to pay medical bills, we also want to equip these hospitals and put them at a level that they can be able to provide the necessary diagnostic and treatment care for their patients.
I want to be clear on the four thematic areas you're working with. That's patients. So the patients and specialists are in one area, or patients one area, specialists in another.
Yes. So
we have research as well.
Exactly.
Then
and
equipment, infrastructure. That's the fourth one.
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. Continue.
Yes. So basically, that's our mandate, and that's why we were established. And we are hoping that we'll be able to get this across, ensure that Ghanaians actually benefit from this policy. Because, like I said, majority of Ghanaians are actually dying due to the impact of non-communicable diseases, and it's so devastating such that
that's a very strange and shocking research outcome.
Yes. So,
or I'm alone in these thoughts.
Well, there has been a shift over the past few
very
years.
Interesting.
So now it's no longer the malaria. They also have their devastating effects, but now the shift is on the non-communicable diseases.
Yeah.
So you have younger people gone were the days where we thought hypertension, diabetes, kidney disease were disease of the old. Mm-hmm. But now when you go into the hospitals, you find people in their 4th and 5th decades of life coming in with kidney diseases, people in their 30s and their 40s. And it's actually on the rise. So this is the more reason why we need the research, to know what is actually accounting for this shift. We can hypothesize that lifestyle changes, urbanization, our dietary habits, sedentary lifestyle can be attributed to some of these things. But it's important that this goes through the rigor of data analysis such that we can be sure that these are the things that are causing, for example, kidney diseases to rise. Kidney diseases are more predominant in, say, this part of the country. And the reason why this is important is because when you are developing policy and interventions, they are targeted such that people actually get the impact. Because if, for example, in our research and our needs assessment tour, we are able to realize that probably in the northern part of the country, they are plagued with, say, condition X. Then in developing policy and in our interventions, we can target most of the resources with respect to that condition to the particular area where the numbers are higher. So this research and our needs assessment tool is basically to help us get that information to target the interventions that we would like to roll out as part of fulfilling our mandate as Ghana Medical Trust Fund. Are you
still on the tour?
Yes.
You're still on it?
Yes, so we started the tour a week ago.
Oh, okay.
The whole idea is to visit the regional hospitals and the teaching hospitals across the country. We are starting with these hospitals because they are the main referral sites. So what that means is that the primary healthcare centers, the clinics, the CHIPS compounds, the health centers, when they see cases, I mean, by regulation, there are certain things they cannot do, there are certain things they are not equipped to do. So they refer to the higher hospitals. So it's important that those hospitals are positioned right to be able to handle the cases, else you'll be referring a case from a district hospital to a teaching hospital or a regional hospital, for example, and they get there, and the very reason for which you couldn't manage the patient, the hospital you are referring them to also have that same challenge. So we are starting with regional and teaching hospitals, but we hope to extend it to other hospitals. In fact, there are hospitals that do not have the designation as regional or teaching hospitals, but in terms of the services they provide secondary and tertiary health services, and they also need some attention. So we would visit as many hospitals as possible. We visited Kolebu Teaching Hospital. We visited the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. We've gone to the Eastern Regional Hospital. We've gone to Effiong Kwanta in Western Region. We've gone to Komfo Teaching Hospital and the Kumasi South Regional Hospital. So these are about 6 hospitals that we have visited, and we hope to continue the tour. The purpose of these visits is to, first of all, interact with management, let them know what the Ghana Medical Trust Fund is all about, let them know how we'll be collaborating with them moving forward, and also find out what their challenges are in terms of infrastructure and equipment, what the service gaps are. So if a patient comes and he's not able to get, say, service X, Y, Z, what is the reason? Is it that we don't have the diagnostic equipment for it? Is it that we don't have the specialist who will be able to provide that service? So we are finding out all these, and we are putting together a comprehensive report based on which we can now move ahead and develop policy and interventions.
So, I have quite a couple of questions on my mind when it comes to the health sector.
I'm here for
you. I am very, I think when it comes to the health service provision in Ghana, I literally lose my emotional intelligence. I can't afford to see exactly what's happening within the health sector. And I'm glad to know that you are actually a practicing doctor, so you should know exactly what's happening within the system. My first question has to do with the service provision. That's one. Second also has to do with, are we not doing a bottom-down approach instead of a top-up approach? When it comes to kidney diseases, for example, is on the rise. A lot of researchers are just linking it to galamsey activities. And we know that most of our brothers and sisters are affected heavily by the activities of galamsey. And even those of us in less galamsey areas are also being affected because we're eating foodstuff that's coming from these, affected areas. Is it not illogical to be promoting, okay, we're not promoting, but we are encouraging or entertaining the practice of eating foodstuffs that are literally killing us. And then we're at the same time finding means of curing the disease, which is the resultant of the foodstuffs we've eaten, which looks like we're doing a bottom-down approach. What exactly is the plan? Are we fighting the two at the same time, like maybe a parallel fight? or we are doing a bottom-down type of solution approach?
Okay, thank you very much. If I understand the question, I mean, when I was talking about our mandate, I just summarized it into the 4 main ones, but I mean, the scope goes beyond that.
Okay.
So as part of our mandate, we are also looking into prevention of these diseases. I mean, it's always better to prevent it than to attempt to cure it.
I mean, that's what you people teach us. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's always better to prevent it than to attempt to cure it. So the goal is that in as much as we are doing all these things, we are also paying attention to the preventive medicine aspect of it.
Okay.
And prevention is mainly born out of research. For example, you talk about the foods we are eating. I mean, if not for research, you won't be able to know that the diseases on the rise is because we are not eating healthy.
Okay.
Or probably the food we think is healthy is probably contaminated by something else. It's true research that would uncover this information.
Mm-hmm.
And based on that, we can know what we are actually preventing.
Okay.
Because we know that now we can avoid eating certain foods. We would probably eat our foods in this way, we'll prepare it this way. So prevention is also on the table. It's something that we are big on. But then that can come out of research. When you know what the data is, when you know what the information on the ground is, then you can take steps to do the prevention. But we are working with all medical professionals. There's an arm of medicine, that's public health, that is big on prevention at various levels, primary, secondary, tertiary level of disease prevention. And whilst we are planning to work with them, we would also focus on prevention rather than just treatment. But of course, once you work on prevention, there are still people who fall through the cracks and would have the condition. And then it's necessary that we can be able to offer them that care that they will need in terms of diagnostics and treatment. So it's not as though we are just focusing on treatment, but then we also want to work on the prevention.
So how far does the prevention scope goes? Like, what exactly are you doing to do the prevention?
Okay.
Because and I don't know if the prevention directly falls under trust fund, as in the Ghana Medical Trust Fund. But I know you'll be collaborating with agencies that are also responsible with the fight.
So we are open to collaboration. In fact, most of our work has to do with collaborations and partnerships with other organizations whose mandates are aligned with ours. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to prevention, you can prevent the disease altogether, excuse me, through public education. You can also go a step further by catching it at the very early stages through screening. Mm-hmm. Then the third stage is after you've screened and you've picked up people who have the disease, then you have to go ahead and treat to prevent further complications and deteriorations. All these are levels of disease prevention. Mm-hmm. So we are focused on public education through our partnerships with other organizations and institutions with like mandate and like vision. We are also big on screenings because recently we are doing some partnership with some organizations, and you hear about it very soon in the course of next week, where we are installing some screening equipment in hospitals to ensure that they're able to pick up certain cancers on time to prevent it from deteriorating. I mean, research has shown that when it comes to certain cancers, breast cancers, cervical cancers, people actually know that they have a cancer when it's in an advanced stage, and there is very little you can do. But if you're able to pick up some of these conditions early enough, you can put in interventions to actually cure or prevent it from deteriorating at a faster rate. Mm-hmm. So we are also working in collaboration with other institutions and also with the hospitals to bring up these screening programs such that we are able to screen our people as much as possible to pick up the conditions at the very infant stages of it such that we can be able to address them appropriately. So prevention is also something that we are looking into through our collaborative work with other institutions and agencies that have like
Let me mention Food and Drugs Authority and maybe Ghana Standards Authority. Still on prevention, we have some products imported into the country used by maybe people who want to have change of complexion and things like that. Some inject, some use on the skin, and we're told that some of them actually have cancerous elements in them. Yet we still allow them into the country, encouraging. In fact, we literally leave people to do what they like, and then when we finish, we say, "Oh, we'll treat you." I don't want to use my money on someone who just willingly decides to do things that has some damning medical I don't know, conditions, and then we go back to want to treat it. Still illogical.
Well, we work in a structure.
I don't know if that has come to you, as because you are trying to raise funds.
Yes, so working in a structured society, I mean, we have institutions that have different mandates.
Yeah.
Yes, this particular one you are talking about, fortunately or unfortunately, doesn't fall within the mandate of the Ghana Medical. Yes, so the FDA Standards Authority, I'm sure they are.
I know, because you mentioned that your mandate,
yes.
even though you mentioned your 4 thematic areas, they still go as far sometimes. And it can get to the point where you have to collaborate. I can appreciate that. So if it doesn't fall in your mandate, you probably will have to be recommended to them, listen, you have to stop people from doing this, doing that, because our research is showing this, and your research will be tracing to a lot of activities engaged by Ghanaians, not so?
Very well.
Yeah.
So once the research shows us what's on the ground, we can make recommendations based on that. And if our research is showing that, say, product X, product Y, and Z are related or attributable to this particular condition, then we can make recommendations to the necessary agencies or authorities that regulate that space, such that steps can be taken to be able to curb the influx of some of these products into the country. But I mean, until you have that empirical evidence through research, I mean, it will be hasty to make some of these conclusions. And I'm very confident in the work that the FDA is doing, that the Standards Authority is doing, and I'm sure that they have their own stringent measures as to how they assess some of these things. I mean, I don't speak for them, but I want to believe that they are doing the best within their framework to be able to regulate some of these things. But if our research shows that some products sort of find their way into the country, that through research are shown to be risk factors for certain conditions, we'll make the necessary recommendations and ensure that some of these things are dealt with.
That area was sort of an outlier, but very relevant to the discussion we're having. So I'm sure you'll look into that. But let's come back to the table on the needs assessment tour you're doing. So with patients, let's start with patients. I mean, what have you done so far? What have you seen? What can you tell us in that area?
Right. So when it comes to providing financial support to patients, I mean, a lot of work has to go into the structure of it. So else it will be so haphazard. At what point do you stop?
Okay.
What are you taking care of? What conditions are you taking care of? If you are, say, diabetes, what are you doing for patients with diabetes? Are you taking care of their tests? Which tests are you paying for? So a lot of actuarials have to go into this.
Okay.
And per our bill, the Board of Trustees would come up with conditions that will be taken care of, what exactly we'll be doing for patients who have certain conditions. And I mean, that is still being worked on. We are hoping that our Board of Trustees will be sworn in as soon as possible, and then we can hit the ground running with respect to providing...
the Board of Trustees are yet to be sworn in?
Yet to be sworn in, yes. But I understand that will be done very shortly.
Okay.
I mean, so once that is done, we'll hit the grounds. I'm sure they'll hit the grounds running. They will come up with the conditions that we'll be starting with first, what exactly we'll be doing for each of the conditions. And the public will be duly informed about some of these things, the process in applying for it, that you have to do it through your medical specialist applying, and the board would have to, I mean, the technical team would have to sit, look at it, determine who deserves which grant and stuff like that. So all these actuarials and all these framework has to be put together before we can do that. So for now, when it comes to that area of our mandate, it's something that is still being worked on, and we are hoping that as soon as that is done, the patient will start benefiting from it. But like I said, we have other things on the table that we can start working on, and we have started in the form of our needs assessment. But the Ghanaian populace can be rest assured that once this is done, we will duly inform them, because this whole Ghana Medical Trust Fund is for Ghanaians, it's for all of us. It's for people who have non-communicable diseases, and I'm sure those watching, some of you have non-communicable disease. If you don't have, you know someone who has a non-communicable disease in the form of a relative or a friend, and this fund is here for you. So as long as we have the structure put together as to what the benefit packages, we would let Ghanaians know, and we'll open our doors to receive requests, and would act promptly to support them financially.
Okay. Let's now focus on the specialists. What's there?
Right. So
what we found.
So to be able to provide specialized care, you need specialists for that. And when we talk about specialists, I mean...
And just for the records, they're still on the tour of the needs assessments. So I'm not sure we are having a conclusive findings yet, right?
Exactly,
but we are just giving you what has been found so far, no?
Sure.
All right.
Right. So when it comes to providing specialized care, obviously you need specialists to do that. And when we talk about specialists, we are talking about medical doctors. We're also talking about nurses. I mean, most of the time when we talk about specialists, we just pay attention to doctors and not talk about the other professionals in the health space. But we need specialists in all those areas because to be able to provide the care, not only the doctor is there, even though most of the time they lead the team, but you need other staff to also help in this work. So far we are in talks with the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons that have the mandate to train specialists in our country. And we are in talks with them with the hopes of expanding the training centers. So what happens is that we have some training centers. So for example, if you are a medical doctor in a district and you want to train in a particular specialty, you would have to move to a facility that has the accreditation to be able to train for that specialty. So we are hoping to expand those training centers such that we have as many as possible. So the challenge is that if, say, you have a doctor in a particular district, say in Savannah region, and he's pursuing a specialty whose accreditation is in Kolebu. Okay. It means for the number of years that he's going to do that specialty, if most of them are 3 years, he would be in Kolebu for 3 years. What that means is that within that 3 years...
As a teaching hospital?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's a teaching hospital to teach other health professionals.
Okay.
So the person will have to move from his district hospital in, say, Savannah region and go to Kolebu for, say, 3 years. That means for those 3 years, the hospital that he was in would not benefit from his services because he'll be away training. So usually that's the challenge because for about 3 years, you will not have your doctor with you. Most of the time, we tend to keep them in the facility for about a year or two before they are allowed to go. And I mean, that also stalls the process in churning out more specialists to be able to provide that specialized care we need. So if we are able to expand the training centers such that you have many hospitals, I mean, as many hospitals as possible in the sense that we are not compromising the quality of the training. I mean, in the bid to expand your training centers, you might compromise quality. And we want to make sure that while we are increasing access, we also want to maintain the high standards such that we are churning out specialists who we know that can actually provide the service we need, such that when you go to them, you are comfortable and convinced that they can provide you that good quality healthcare that you need. So we want to expand the training centers to be able to train more specialists as possible. We want to do same for the nurses and also cater for the training cost. I mean, if not all of it, but we are in talks to see how the Ghana Medical Trust Fund can support financially the cost of training some of these staff, particularly the other professionals.
Are we involving Cuba or Cuban doctors, whatever, in this? Because Ghana and Cuban relationship, I don't know, when it comes to medical care, I think it's quite good. Almost all the time we are involving them in everything.
We've had a good working relationship with Cuba as far as healthcare is concerned. But we are proud to say that as a country, for some time now, we have been training most of our specialists. Okay. Of course, there are certain specialties that are highly specialized that there may be the need to go outside the country. But majority of our specialties, we are proud to say as a nation that we are training our people in Ghana. And that makes it even quite convenient for us. It reduces the cost of training these specialists. But when there's a need that specialists have to go abroad, I'm sure, like I said, we are in talks with the college. Some of these discussions can be held, and where the Medical Trust Fund can support, we would not hesitate to support, because it's part of our mandate to ensure that our human resource are their capacity is well built to be able to handle some of these things and to be able to provide the service that we hope our Ghanaians will be able to get. So that's it on the area of specialists.
Just hold on there. So we have the area of also some research and then equipment infrastructure. We will take a quick breather. When we come back, we'll continue, in those thematic areas as well. We'll be back shortly.
Branch manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, mommy.
I'm the second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again? Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late? Of course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. You go feel the luckiest. Coffee from Georgia be luckiest. From not the cause she be luckiest. Yeah, you go feel be luckiest. No matter why you're luckiest. Everybody go be the luckiest.
That's Kwame!
Senya God the apple boom. If you put it at all, so would the coming of the Son of Man be. Is that his car?
Everywhere.
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompt and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
You're welcome to the program. We are still on Good Afternoon Ghana, and we are in the quarters of the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, otherwise known as Mahama Cares. We are having an interaction with Dr. Norbert Kipo. He's a health policy advisor of the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, Mahama Cares. All right, so we were, he mentioned some 4 thematic areas that the fund is dealing with to, bring up a very, put up a report that they can use, have a needs assessment report that they can use in developing the fund and then roll it out eventually. And we're dealing with patients, we're dealing with specialists, we're dealing with research, and then equipment and infrastructure. So let's move on to the research now. I'm not sure, what's the research on? What's the difference between the research and equipment infrastructure? Because the research will give you the results of what you want to know for equipment or infrastructure.
Okay, thank you very much. In the health space, well, not only in the health space, just in academia, research, is done by individuals who want to uncover information about something. So that's what I mean by... So that's
how you mean,
that empirical research that would uncover information. Doctors do it. I know people... Well, I'm a practicing doctor, so I can speak to that. I know doctors do it most of the time. So if they discover a certain trend in their consulting rooms, they are able to just gather data and they do a research through questionnaires, what have you. They analyze the data and they publish in renowned journals so that other countries can also, or other hospitals can also learn from it. And that's what we mean by research. So we will be providing support because, this research is quite expensive, depending on the type of research you are doing. We have different types. You could do a prospective study where you are studying your subjects moving forward. It could take years. You could also do a clinical trial where you want to introduce a new medication and you want to see how efficient it is, the side effects. These could take years, and it's quite expensive because you need huge numbers. Sometimes you need huge numbers to make your data quite reliable. So the fund is set up to be able to provide some of these support to medical professionals who are willing to take up research projects just to help us uncover some information. And this information is what we usually use to develop our protocols. So if we know this is the case, for this condition, when the patient comes, these are the first steps you do. This is the best medication for this condition. First line, if it doesn't work, you can upscale to this medication. And all those protocols, you have to get them because of the research that you are doing. So that's what we actually call the research. It's empirical evidence-based. It's evidence-based research. Okay. They actually do a lot of work, and they take time. That's
it's clear.
Yes.
It's clear. Okay. So that's what you're doing for empirical data. Now, equipment infrastructure. Last year, for example, Ghana experienced a very, I don't know how to describe it, but quite strange development of closure of dialysis centers. I would say dialysis centers. And that's because we were owing or there was debt to be paid. And I'm not sure what was happening really around that time. There was a back and forth of statements released. Parliament was going up and down. Committees were demanding answers. Doctors were saying their own stories. Patients were crying. It was so bad. We had to get the report of dialysis equipment across the country. And it was really disappointing that some hospitals obviously didn't even have. Some had broken down equipment. I'm so sure that your report that you have gathered is maybe more damning than what we saw last year. So tell us about the equipment.
Right. So, like I mentioned earlier, to be able to provide specialized care, you would need specialized equipment.
Yeah.
Let me just put it that way. These equipment help in diagnosis in the first place. So when a patient comes, as part of the clinician's duty, is to determine what exactly is wrong with the person. And it's based on that you can now go ahead to treat. To determine what's wrong, you need some investigations. Some of the common ones we know are the lab tests. They do a specific test in your blood or urine or whatever the sample is, and they bring a report, and based on that, the doctor is able to put 2 and 2 together and arrive at a diagnosis. Now, aside the lab test you do, there are sophisticated investigation procedures, particularly in the area that we are dealing with, which is the non-communicable diseases. Yeah. So, for example, in the management of, say, stroke, you need high quality or high level imaging techniques. So you need a CT scan, you may need an MRI to be able to check soft tissue. And these are expensive. They are expensive equipment, they are sophisticated, they are expensive to maintain as well. And some of our facilities, unfortunately, do not have some. Those that have, some are broken, some are outdated, and you need more modern versions of it. So we are assessing some of these things. Aside the equipment for the diagnostics, we are also looking at equipment for therapy to be able to treat. So now that you have diagnosed, you have to offer treatment to the patient. Yeah. And those treatments, of course, you use medications, but there are some treatment modalities that go beyond medication. So, for example, in the case of cancers, they benefit from radiation therapy. Aside the surgeries that they may have to resect the tumor, what have you, the chemotherapy that they may go through, they also need radiation therapy. And these radiation therapy machines are very expensive. So practically speaking, hospitals cannot acquire them with their internally generated funds. We are talking about millions of dollars. So there is a need for us as a nation to have a conversation about how we can retool these hospitals. Because, people who have cancers is psychologically troubling to be told that you have a cancer in the first place. And it's even worse to know that you don't have access to treatment. So it's not just about affordability. Some may not be able to afford it, but those who can even afford it, you have the money, but where are you going to have this radiation therapy done? So we have very few radiation therapy machines in the country, and some of them are old. You need modern versions. You need to even get more to be able to expand access, because if everyone with cancers have to come to Konfanochi and Kolebu,
Is it only radiation therapy that can cure the disease?
So for cancers, like I said, there are other treatment modalities. Okay. Surgery is one of them. If it's a tumor that's localized
depending
at one place,
on the type of cancer.
Depending on the type of cancer, depending on the staging of the cancer, it would help the clinician know which modalities you would benefit from. But radiation therapy is one of the modalities that can be used to treat cancers. Like I said, chemotherapy is also...
I just don't like radiation. Like the mention of that word just makes me...
Sorry about
Maybe
that. Maybe for the purpose of this discussion, I'll use something else. So yes. So aside looking at the diagnostic equipment, we're also looking at the therapeutic equipment to treat. ICUs would need ventilators, they would need patient monitors, you would need a catheterization lab to be able to perform certain procedures for patients who have certain conditions. And we are looking into all of these things. Like I said, we are putting the report together, and based on this report, we can determine what sort of intervention to make. So that's the area of equipment. I mean, you spoke about the situation in Kolebu. The situation in the health space, actually, is not the best. It's not one we all hope for. But most of the time, we tend to focus on the gloomy picture without actually appreciating the brighter side of it. I mean, the medical professionals are doing so well. I think sometimes we don't give them credit for that. And it's not because I'm a medical professional, but once you go to the hospitals and you interact with management, most of all you keep hearing is that we have improvised. So we have converted this room and decided to put this so that we can see our patients here. We have created this space so that the patients they keep improvising. If they want to maintain the international standards, they will turn a lot of people away. And I don't think that's good for our citizenry. So
they will not.
I mean
if they are keeping to international standards, they will keep improvising. Because your work is to care. You see the way I'm looking at you. When health personnel improvise, I'm not saying don't applaud, but it is that's their job.
Okay, so let me give you a classical example. So I'm supposed to see a patient for, say, 30 minutes, and I have 200 patients waiting for me, and I work, say, 8 hours. That means I can see 16. Should I maintain international standards and see 16 and go home, and send the other probably 64 home? Mm-hmm. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. So what I'm trying to say is that, I mean, I'm not glorifying what they do. Obviously, like I said, we have to have a conversation as a nation.
We're challenged with maybe doctor-patient ratio.
That is a
statistics.
Challenge.
We're challenged with patient ratio.
Exactly.
We're challenged with, I can understand that challenge, which is not your fault. But when you're challenged with that ratio and you see a sick person that is already carried away psychologically and cannot even focus, almost thinking I'm dying tomorrow, and your talk, your demeanor, your treatment is almost rude or next to rude.
You see, not to interject, but what we do is that we take a few of the negative stories and we magnify it to a level of generalization to all the other stuff. I mean, in every setting.
If Ghanaians are watching this afternoon, they won't be happy with you because when there's one death recorded, maybe some doctors or nurses will say, "Oh, nasa ni papa akopani uye," but that's not what you should be saying because of a few.
I think you might be taking me out of context. I don't think, or probably I'm not explaining myself so well. I think you might be taking me out of context.
Yeah, maybe you're not. No, what I'm saying is that you're not explaining yourself well.
What I'm saying is that the situation is dire, but then you have these health professionals still in there trying to make things work. I don't know if you are getting what I'm saying. You have these professionals in there. Let me give you a classical example. So we went to Effiankwanta. For some reason, part of the hospital was demolished to make room for expansion. Now that expansion, again, for some reason, probably we'll get further particulars on that, has stalled. What it means is that 40% of their hospital, they don't have. Now that 40% was not idle space. That 40% had a room, that's where their imaging room was, so their CT scan was there. Mm-hmm. They had other important wards there and other important departments. Yeah. Now, what the hospital has to do now, hospital management said they have to do now, was to take those departments and find space for them in that 60% that is left. I mean, won't you give credit to management? Mm. Don't you want to give credit to management for trying to make such a system work?
I don't know yet.
40% of my hospital is gone and now I have to manage with 60% in terms of infrastructure, but still provide the same 100% services. Yeah. And they are making it work. I mean, like I said, it's not the best.
We thank them.
We don't glorify that. But whenever we look at the gloomy picture, let's look on the bright side as well. The gloomy picture allows us to be able to hold some of these conversations. It allows us to brainstorm and see what we can do about it as a nation.
Okay.
But we shouldn't do it at a point of sort of denigrating or making other people look as though they are not up to the task. Because once we do that, then we put them on the defensive. Then instead of opening up for us to have
sometimes they also make it difficult.
Then it looks like
sometimes
you are not doing your job, I'm doing my job,
you're
not doing your job, and you can't have...
And okay, we're discussing the issue of Ghana Medical Trust Fund, Mahama Care, to be precise, and we have Dr. in the studio helping us understand, what the preparation they're putting in place to, gather a comprehensive data or reports to roll it out. I'm just saying that sometimes they make it difficult because of the way the leadership of the medical care, like what happened at Reach, and we saw leadership of nurses in studios telling us stories where an ordinary person is watching TV and sees that, oh, your story doesn't add up. That is what makes it scary. So when it's a leadership challenge and there's a gap there, it affects almost everybody. And it's not like one nurse has done something or one doctor has done something and we are lumping everybody together. No. But when the leadership gets it twisted, then there's a bit of a problem there. But that's not your... I'm just trying to let you know that your needs assessment, you are going to discover more because you haven't yet finished covering the whole country, right? How many regions have you done so far?
We've done 4 regions.
4 regions.
And we are hoping to do the other 6 in the coming weeks.
Sorry?
We are hoping to do the other 6 in the coming weeks.
Oh, we are 16 regions now.
Okay, so officially, the new 6 regions do not have regional. Like I said, we are doing regional and teaching hospitals, and these are in the traditional 10 for purposes of this discussion.
Okay.
For purposes of this discussion.
Okay.
So yes, that's what I mean.
Okay.
But like I mentioned earlier at the beginning, you have certain hospitals that do not have the official designation as regional or teaching hospital, but then they provide secondary and tertiary services, just like the regional and teaching hospitals would do.
Okay.
Yes, and some of these are found in the new regions. So, for example, you have a hospital in Techiman that is doing so well. It's a Christian mission hospital that is doing so well and offering services to people within that area. So these are facilities that we hope to visit. But like I said, we are doing the 10 regional hospitals first. Then we can then expand our scope to the other facilities.
Have we done Ashanti region yet?
We have. So we're at Komfanoche and Kumasi South Hospital on Wednesday last week. Yes, and we were able to meet. We did meet the regional health director as well. So we first paid a courtesy call on the regional health director where we discussed our mission in the hospital and ways by which we could partner strategically, to help us fulfill our mandate. Then we went to Komfanoche Teaching Hospital where we met with management and we listened to them. We we had interactions.
I'm sorry about that. You need water?
We had interactions about how the hospital was run and some of the challenges that they face in terms of logistics, equipment, and stuff like that. The patient load as against the number of equipment that they have and things like that. We were fortunate to go on a tour where we could see for ourselves. For example, you go to the oncology department where they treat cancers. You have one radiation therapy machine and the people are so many.
For the whole of Komfanoche Teaching Hospital?
For the whole of the northern part of the country. We have just 2 in Komfanoche and Kolebu.
Oh.
So you have people who have traveled far in here.
Just for one machine.
The queue is so long. So these are the challenges I'm talking about. So something like this, I mean, this is a challenge. This is a genuine challenge that you have to be concerned about.
I agree.
I have to be concerned about. Every Ghanaian sitting at home and watching has to be concerned about this. Because this, I mean, it may not be you today, but you probably may know someone who is dealing with a cancer and you don't know what the future holds. So it's important that as a nation, we should be able to support our patients who have certain conditions. And these conditions, like I said, they are so expensive to even diagnose in the first place because the number of, some people go to the hospital and they claim that the tests are too many, are too expensive. And those are the diagnostic procedures. I have to see what's happening in the blood to know that this headache you have is actually from malaria, is from something else. So those are very important. And because of how expensive they are, it doesn't just put a financial toll on the individual. It cuts across and has a far-reaching implication on the entire family and the youth in the family. So, for example, I had a patient who, some years back, who had a kidney disease and had to do dialysis. And after I explained everything to the patient and the relatives about what the whole procedure of dialysis is, the possibility of having a kidney transplant, and the cost implication, They were just blunt enough to tell me that there are younger people in the family who we have to invest in, and we don't think if we start this dialysis, we can be able to go beyond 6 months. So then you put them in a very bad situation where they even have to choose as to who to help, who to let go. And it's not pleasant to put families through that. So as a nation, if we can put together the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, make sure it works, it will be beneficial to everyone. Maybe not you directly, but it will be beneficial to someone you know, someone in the family.
Okay, well, our time is up, but can you give me maybe a number of the diseases that are under the non-communicable diseases so persons will know? And how soon is this touring going to end so that we know when you can put together your data and then roll out?
So we are hoping to get this done within the next 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
We plan to actually finish earlier, but you are meeting hospital management, and sometimes they have other. For example, 2 days ago, they were at the Public Accounts Committee hearing, and for that reason, we couldn't move. So they have other events that is making the process stall, but we are hoping that within the next 2 weeks, we should be able to tour the remaining 6 regions and put together the report. When it comes to the diseases, I mean, non-communicable disease is a broad group of diseases. Like I said, diseases that you do not spread to another person through contact, airborne, and stuff like that. So there are so many diseases that fall within that category. But the diseases of interest for now are hypertension, diabetes, cancer, stroke, kidney diseases. Yes. But then when you have your board of trustees together and they have the responsibility of putting together a benefits package, determining the types of diseases we'll look at least at the beginning. We hope to roll on as many diseases as possible because, I mean, the more people you can help, the better for all of us. Once the nation is healthy, we can work to make the nation a wealthy one. Yeah. So once we have the board of trustees together, that can put together the benefits package, the diseases that will be captured, and what exactly we'll be doing for them, then I'll be happy to come back to the studio again and let you know that these are the diseases that we'll be working on. These are the packages that we'll be offering for individuals who have the specific diseases. This is how your medical specialist can apply. This is how we hope to give the financial support. I'll be happy to meet you back in studios to give clarity to that, as long as that's all those paperwork and structures have been put together.
Been put in place, and that will be comprehensive enough. We will know exactly where we're moving from and where we're going to, because that's when the reports will be ready, and then we'll see how it will be rolled out. Some of these diseases are not captured by the NHIA, I should say NHIS, either of them. So they are all captured under the non-communicable diseases, and so let's see how that data will be put together, and we start enjoying under this policy. Dr. Norbert Kipo, did I mention the name rightly?
Right.
Dr. Norbert Kipo is a health policy advisor under the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, otherwise known as the Mahama Cares. We're grateful for your time this afternoon. I'm sure we're going to have you again. When you're ready, please let us know. Right. So we will update the viewers. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so very much for having me.
You're still watching a program. We will delve into a bit of some politics because the MPP is gearing up to go and select its flag bearer, but there is war on the mountains, and chairmen and supporters are also, I would say, doing what they like or saying what they like. The NPP leadership is speaking, and it is advising the general public to actually start ignoring some of the comments that are coming through. I'll give you a brief. So what started as campaign promise has become reality as President John, okay, now the Bono regional chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Kwame Bafo, probably known as Abronya DC, has issued a response to the disciplinary summons from the party. This follows the confirmation by the MPP that the party's General Secretary, Kodia, has formally petitioned the committee over what he described as a series of alleged misconduct by Mr. Bafo, which includes public insults and unsubstantiated allegations deemed damaging the party's unity and reputation. So, however, expressed his readiness to appear before the party's disciplinary committee and demanded the proceedings to be broadcast live. We will speak with Haruna Mohammed, who is Deputy General Secretary of the MPP, on this development. Haruna, thank you. It's been quite a while. Where have you been hiding?
Annie, you kept me in hiding, and you said I should not disclose.
Haruna, this your mission won't fly you.
I have to be very, confidentiality is very important.
Oh my goodness. Harold, you're welcome. Good afternoon to you. Okay. So
Thank you, Annie. Good afternoon.
right. So we saw the parties, release warning the public or otherwise advising the public about comments by two strong chairmen of the party or regional chairman, Wontumi, and then also Chairman Kwame Bafo, to be precise, Abronye. And he has responded. He says that he is coming to meet the disciplinary committee, but he wants the proceedings to be telecast live. Are you ready to do that? Have you received his response? And how are you going to go through with us? Let's understand exactly what's happening between the party and your regional chairman.
Thank you very much, Annie. Once again, I would like to say good afternoon to your cherished viewers. These are two issues that you have raised. One had to do with the clarity of matters that were raised in the social media regarding the two regional chairmen, where the fixing of the date was misconstrued to be tainting or be tilted towards somebody's opinion or some reasons that were ascribed. That was very much wider different from the reasons of which the National Council took the decision. So the General Secretary issued a statement to clear that and to reinstate the fact that the National Council took the decision to have early Congress on a specific matter to be able to give us ample time to be able to rebuild and retool and ensure that we have a formidable force for election 2028. And also to clear the air that nobody has the monopoly over the compilation of album in the new patriotic party. And the systems are very clear in 2023 when we had the validation committees across all the 276 constituencies. So this was the first run that the party issued a statement to bring clarity to those matters and reaffirm the integrity of the elections and let the delegates know that nobody will be unduly taken out of the album because there's always a procedure and due process that has to take place. The second one is a notice of a petition that has been forwarded to the disciplinary committee of our party based on certain conduct and petitions before the General Secretary's office, which is the National Secretariat. So the letter you are seeing out there is not a referral letter. It is not an invitation letter, but a referral note to the disciplinary committee. And the disciplinary committee, per the structure and the constitution of our party, will write a letter to Mr. Abronye inviting him, giving a specific date and time to meet the disciplinary committee. So if Mr. Abronye has a concern or has something to say, then he has to say it before the disciplinary committee. Or if he receives a formal letter from the disciplinary committee, he would have to write to the disciplinary committee requesting what has been made public so that the disciplinary committee would take that under consideration, but not the national leadership of the party, which would have to do that.
So what exactly is the, what clarity are you bringing? Are you saying that you have not invited him yet?
I am saying that the national leadership, per the structure of the party, does not constitute the disciplinary committee.
Okay.
The disciplinary committee is a standing committee of National Council, which is headed by Mr. Amakwata, Honorable Amakwata, the former Rules Minister.
Yeah.
So the disciplinary committee is the committee that will invite Abronye after a formal referral has been made by the General Secretary, who in this case on points 2 and 3 is the petitioner. So in this particular matter, the disciplinary committee will receive the actual petition, not the media release. And based on that one, the disciplinary committee will invite the set person who has been petitioned before them.
So what
the person will have in hand the letter of invitation indicating the day and time of meeting the disciplinary committee. So if Mr. Abronye has a concern or a request, the request will have to be forwarded to the disciplinary committee upon receipt of invitation.
So then he's not responding to any invitation. He's just
That's why I am unable to respond to any matter and making the structure and giving clarity to how it should be.
Then it means that maybe the release to the media, he read it to mean that he has to come and respond to a disciplinary committee, which obviously is not exactly what the letter is indicating.
Mr. Bronya is a senior member of the party. He was regional youth organizer of the party when I was part of the regional youth wing. I was not even an executive. So I know his understanding of the party's constitution is clear. But I'm surprised that he has to respond to the press release, the referral letter. He cannot make a request to the referral letter. His request must be directed to the disciplinary committee after he had received an invitation from the disciplinary committee. What he could say in public, maybe also speak to what has been made public, is to reassure the public that he is going to appear. But he cannot make a request to the public statement because he knows that by the structure of the party, the public statement and the issuer of the public statement does not have the power to grant his wish, but it is the disciplinary committee that can grant his wish upon a receipt of his invitation and giving him whatever he has requested or denying so.
Okay, nonetheless, thank you for that clarity. Do you not think that it's about time this disciplinary committee at least, sends him an invitation letter?
I cannot dictate to the disciplinary committee as to what their work is. They also have timelines as to how they dispense of such matters. And the only thing I can do as a leader or a staff or an executive member who works under the secretariat is to wait for the disciplinary committee to exercise their constitutional duty as enshrined in Article 10 of the party's constitution.
Is Abronya hurting the party by his comments? Because the party has released a statement which you term a referral letter, which means that he's damaging the party beyond what you even expect or beyond allowable, freedom of speech type of limits. Is he disturbing the party?
Beyond what is put on the release by the General Secretary, I cannot prejudice what happens once it is before a disciplinary committee. I would have to exercise the right to wait for the outcome of the disciplinary committee. And respectfully, I might not be able to give a succinct answer on this particular request until such is determined.
Yeah, but you are a deputy general secretary. Your general secretary or your boss signed this letter. It means that the executive body of the party agrees that these two chairmen holding such important offices are disturbing the party. Haven't issued this to even advise the public to ignore, which obviously will be difficult for the public to ignore what your party chairmen are communicating. And the good thing is that it's not coming from outsiders, it's coming from insiders who are core members of the party holding offices. Once they say anything, opponents will just take and run with it, and that will, any logical person will know that it will affect the party. Is that something you cannot say or confirm?
Annie,
yes.
If it was a press release without a referral, I would have speak to it. That's why I said beyond what has been put on the document, I will wait for the outcome of the disciplinary committee. But to the content of what has been released, it has been clearly stated, which your person has also read it. And I would not like to make a determination ahead of the disciplinary committee. And again, I make sure that I had to separate the issues. It is only Abronya that has been referred to the disciplinary committee, referencing the key points that has been made in the write-up of the General Secretary. The first letter was a caution to the two of them by way of clarity and stating the facts so that nobody will misconstrue power to one person who has monopoly over album, and also no one will be informed the contrary decision of National Council to have an early Congress.
Let me bring in the issue of Owusu Bempah as well. In this context, he has not really formally informed the party about anything, but you released a statement also signed by your boss. In that statement, SF's office says that the Secretariat has further received formal petitions from party members demanding his removal from office because Owusu Bempah is supposed to be a deputy communications director for the party. In line with due process and considering that his appointment was made upon the recommendations of the National Executive Committee and subsequently approved by the National Council, the matter has been formally referred to the National Council for appropriate consideration and determination. What about his case too?
His case has been referred to the National Council, which is the second highest decision-making body. The reference is made in the letter of his position, which is a Deputy National Communications Director, a position I have held for 4 years before becoming a Deputy General Secretary. Every national officer of our party is under oath. Commentaries that he has made in public that has gone against the party's rule or codes of conduct or practice of the party is clearly stated also in the letter. And the National Council will also make a determination. One thing that I want the members of the public to get clear is that many people have expressed some concerns, and these are genuine concerns that people have expressed with respect to the first point of the referral of Mr. Bronye. However, what many people don't know is that Mr. Kennedy Ohinia Japan has been referred to the disciplinary committee twice on comments that he has made against the party, which we saw was anti-party behavior. A disciplinary committee sat on him and made recommendations to us as a party. So it is entirely not out of order that if such sanctions has not been made public and word of caution or caution to such persons before the disciplinary committees have been made, and somebody makes a similar or even something that is lower than that, does not indicate that such persons should not appear to be to face the disciplinary committee. Again, Abronye and Abua Papu, which is the Deputy Communication Director, was referred to the National Council once again, and this matter was also dispensed of, and the two of them were cautioned. In that particular process, Abronya had not gone contrary against the caution statements that was made at the National Council. But in 5 different occasions, the said Deputy Communication Director had made statements which were anti-party and refused to stand on a party's position, even to demonstrate against a national canker which has bedeviled everybody in this country, and to make public certain statements that does not sit very well with the New Patriotic Party. And on that basis, the General Secretary again referred him, based on the recommendation of National Council, back to National Council to take a decision on him. And the National Council will soon sit and a decision will be taken on the Deputy Communication Director. Some
persons have said that the NPP is being selective in terms of applying the rules of the party on individuals, where some people will speak and immediately they will be invited to the disciplinary committee. Others will do, and it will be dragged as though the party executive is afraid of these persons that are speaking. They've been speaking for the longest of time and nobody is doing anything about it.
I don't know who, because we don't fear anybody. As we are there, nobody closed us. Nobody fits us. We are working for the party. We don't take salary for working for the party. It's a voluntary work. And if you check the background of each and every national officer, we are a standard on our own and nobody can control us. Those who have spoken earlier have had their case to appear before and have just justified that and indicated to you that such things has happened. Annie, but one thing that is very clear here is that if you are a leader or you are seeking to lead, you must be careful of your utterances. It will come to haunt you one day. And that is what everybody must know. We should not sit on the fence and say that because Mr. So-and-so has done this, discipline should go back and begin from somewhere. It began, and certain caution statements were taken, and certain measures were also taken. Once it's continued, the act of making sure that there is discipline in the party does not have an end. So that is why Justin Kodua Frimpong, as the CEO of the party, decided to make sure that let's make sure that discipline reigns within our party.
Right. Hauna Mohammed, we're grateful for your time this afternoon. We're monitoring how the party executive committee and the disciplinary committee as well will handle these matters. Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you, Annie.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, I'm far away, but it's been a long time.
We'll see you soon. I'm not keeping you in hiding. We'll see you soon. All right. So we will, wrap up with this issue of what has happened at Onga. I mean, the UN General Assembly, Ghana's president has spoken and seemed to have sent waves across Africa and probably the globe, making Ghana proud to a certain extent, and also following that, Ghana received the good news of US taking Ghana or lifting Ghana's ban of visa application, or the 5 years that we later on were denied of because of a few factors and issues the US came about with. Now we are doing, some sort of education on this matter. We want to understand exactly what's happening and how Ghana should handle these issues going forward. Dr. Ishmael Hulovo is an international relations lecturer at GIMPA. But let's, take a listen to maybe some of the videos by President Mahama when he returned to the country, what he said, and we'll get back to Mr. Hulovo.
Madam President, I also want to draw particular attention to the conflict in Sudan, which this body has described as the world's largest humanitarian crisis. 12 million people have had to flee their homes. And when we speak of migration, we refer to the 12 million new Sudanese refugees, whom we as a global community should be willing to assist in much the same way that many member nations readily assisted new refugees coming out of Ukraine. Let's dispense with the euphemisms and dog whistles and speak frankly. It is not a mystery that when leaders of Western nations complain of their migration problems, they are often referring to immigrants from the global south. But many of those immigrants are climate refugees. And interestingly, the global north emits 75% more greenhouse gases than the global south.
All right, we'll now engage Dr. Ishmael Hulovo via Zoom, and he is an international relations lecturer at GIMPA, my alma mater. Doc, thank you for your time. You're welcome to Good Afternoon Ghana here on Metro TV. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, too, for having me.
We're grateful. So we will, delve straight into what happened at UN General Assembly. Is over. The president is back home. But a lot happened regarding what he said, how he said it, and how he was more African-focused than Ghana-focused. We've seen a lot of videos from other African countries thanking Ghana's president, because he's not their president, so they're thanking him for raising concerns and how he built the idea of pushing the narrative of the future is African. What did you pick from what happened?
Okay, thank you very much. I think that is just the fact that the Africans are looking for somebody who will speak to their problem. And President Mahama, with the speech he delivered at the UN General Assembly, seems to speak to that direction, where he picks on issues such as the forgotten conflict in Sudan and other parts of Africa, such as issues of climate change and the effect on Africa. So it's just natural that Africans across the world will find expression in what he's saying, because those are things that they are naturally going to struggle with. And so he's speaking the mind of Africa, and he spoke with a little bit of independence in his voice, and that resonates with I think Africans across the globe, that the issues that are of concern to Africa are being spoken at the highest level. So I think that's what you see among the people on social media who are connecting to that speak, because they are living some of these problems, and they wish that African leaders can speak up for it.
Well, it is true that, African countries are looking for a voice to speak up for them. But there's also been follow-up concerns that, yes, we've heard you, yes, your voice was loud enough, but action speaks louder than words. Coming into the African continent, obviously we're divided. We have countries that support the Sahel states. We have people that are anti-Sahel states. We have some African countries that are in good diplomatic relationship with the West. Others are anti-West. There's still the division of, the alliances, right? So as loud as one person's voice will come through, is there a possibility of action to take place, starting from a point? Because this fight started all the way, maybe before Nkrumah. It came through Nkrumah. Other well-known leaders of other African countries have spoken loudest. Some lost their lives and all. Is there a light shining somewhere from a tunnel?
Now, so that is the difficulty with Africa and the speeches we deliver at the UN General Assembly. There's always a huge difference between the rhetoric that we normally project. Of course, if you take a survey of the speeches delivered by African leaders since they joined the UN, you will find out that there are many occasions where they come out with very loud voices. They come out with guns blazing, calling the powers that be, trying to get them to act. But then the problem is that those rhetorics are never followed with real action that will change the course of Africa. So, for instance, if we talk about the call for reform of the UN Security Council, you talk about the need to give Africa more voice. Then you ask a simple question. If Africa really wants one voice, what prevents Africa from strengthening the AU? That is their own organization. What prevents Africa or West Africa from strengthening ECOWAS to act more effectively and more efficiently? So the challenge is that we always have these nice speeches, we always have these nice rhetorics, but then when it comes to practice, we are found wanting. So
is that not because of the UN Security Council lacuna or gap that African countries are facing?
So you see, it's the world you are in, and these are the structures that the world currently have. And within that structure, you must find a way to develop and bring yourself up in order to be able to change it. So, for instance, if you want the structure of the UN to be changed, then you must be in a position to also be more responsible, because those that we call the P5, the permanent members, they take responsibility, they contribute more. Of course, we can also argue that there are new countries that are emerging economically who are contributing more. They contribute in terms of peacekeeping, in terms of the financial resources, in terms of many of the things that the UN is doing. These are the bigger powers that put their resources there. So once Africa is saying we need a seat, you must also be in a position to take response to some of the issues that. So, for instance, if you talk about Sudan, apart from the UN, you also have the African Union. So why is the African Union not being enabled resource-wise by African government with African resources to deal with Sudan, so that it doesn't even need to get out of Africa? If you are able to do that, then you now have the platform. You now have that power to go and confront the UN and demand for the changes. But if you are not able to, as it were, run some of these your continental bodies or regional bodies effectively, then sometimes you will be making a lot of argument at the UN, calling for acceptance, but you may not actually be effecting the changes that you are calling for. Because then, at the end of the day, it's about taking responsibility. It's about contributions that you are making to those bodies. If you take the IMF, you take the World Bank, they are all based on contributions you are making that will give you a voice. So if you are not making enough contributions in that respect, and you want more voice, that will always remain at the rhetoric level.
So what will be our solution? Because we lack the power to implement the strong voice and the narrative we keep churning out.
So if you ask me, is that Africans have to begin to think about how to get powerful, how to raise themselves up in terms of power within the international setup. And that will take the form of one, beginning to govern ourselves more effectively. That will also reflect in making deals that put Africa at the center of it. So for instance, we have to change, of course, the president touched on that when he said that the days where we sign mineral deals, exploration deals that give foreign mining companies a larger share in our own resource should be over. So if you want to become powerful, if you want to have global influence, if you want to be counted among the powers that be and shape the world, first, you have to govern yourself well. Two, you have to stop making agreements that virtually give about 90% of your own resources to foreign entities while you hold on to 5 and 10%. Yeah. We have to see Africa where our mineral resources, about 70% of them is for us, and those who are investing in it could have the 30%, the 20%. We must also see common response from African nations. For instance, on the issue of migration, if we clearly the African front is divided, we have countries like our own Ghana who are willing to accept U.S. deportees, while others are not ready to accept it. So you see that you can't even act collectively, but you need to act collectively. You need to grow yourself economically. And I believe that the place to start is that you have to begin to do deals that gives you more control over your own natural resources, deals that make your natural resources benefit you more than the foreign direct investor. Yeah. African countries must be able to come together, set up joint companies that mine and explore their own resources and give them the benefit of those resources. We must also begin to think through global frameworks like, for instance, this day and age, you can't adopt any policy without linking into a sustainable development. But then all those concepts are nice, but when these concepts come out, we should ask ourselves, how beneficial is the concept to Africa? Mm-hmm. So, for instance, if you say because of sustainability, you are facing us petrol-based cars and you want EVs, then you ask yourself, within the context of your current state of development, is that a feasibility? Are you ready for that? Or you need a longer time frame to come to a stage where you think that, well, now I'm ready to move towards that. So it's not what we have done over the years.
In context, we are allowing the Western pressure or the other well-developing pressure to dictate to us without us, having the comfort to work in our own pace.
Yes, of course. So ideas will come from the West to help you, but always ask yourself, how practical is that idea? How beneficial is that idea to you? Once we begin to import these ideas without asking what is the relevance of this idea within the peculiar historical and socioeconomic context we have, then our development is somehow co-opted to be in alignment with a certain global structure that you think we are changing. So we must begin to act in the interest of Africa. We must begin to bring out our own solution within the context of what we know we are, not just following others and thinking in the same light. So I believe that Africa has a lot to do to get up to that level where they should be able to have power and influence in global affairs. But if we continue the way we are continuing, where virtually even the AU have to depend on external funding, ECOWAS have to depend on external funding. If you look at just recently, our foreign minister was complaining that the allocation to AFTA is not enough. And so when you do that, and we know the level of corruption within African states, when you do that and then push your citizens to migrate to other places, then you may not have that moral right to go and be pushing other nations whose main responsibility is to their citizens anyway. So we have to improve governance. We have to improve our level of cooperation. We have to improve our resource governance. We have to improve on so many aspects, including trying to get our own solution. Yes, it's good we borrow ideas, but those ideas must fit into what we are thinking to do for ourselves. Just following everybody in the name of sustainable. So now, every now and then, we are now thinking of green transition, and that even ran through academia, where once a concept becomes catchy, we are all following, trying to find out how that concept fits, without necessarily asking, what is it about Africa that this concept is going to benefit us? So we need a lot to improve. I think that once we improve in that direction, improve in governance, improve in terms of the economies, in terms of our collective decision making, then we can now go into the world and try to shape the world the way we want it.
There are people who say that sometimes you do negative things to get positive results. Was it a good move where Ghana accepted the deportees of other nationals and eventually, saw the results of what we, the visa ban lifting and, other accompanying benefits that we may eventually get as a country? Was it a good move and decision that we took?
Of course, if I'm to speak as a Ghanaian and put my nation's interest above any other interest, then that is a good thing that we did. While we may not link the deportee deal directly to the visa
ban lifting, right?
It is significant that the deal and the reversal are happening almost at the same time. But one thing that we know is that once you have accepted that deal, the U.S. administration has become more favorable towards you. In other words, you are able to get more positive response from the Trump administration than you might have if the deal were not to be in place. So yes, if you ask me, being a Ghanaian and thinking of my nation, I would say that that's a good deal. Because at the end of the day, what you want is that Ghanaians are able to travel to the US, they're able to make some living and send remittances home to their families. And of course, we look at the amount that we get from remittances, particularly from the US, that's huge. And so you want to have that as part of your option. So yes, as a Ghanaian, that's good. But then if I want to speak as an African who wants to see a common African response, then that become very problematic, because while we are acting in a particular way, others are not following. Then it's easier for powers like the US to have their way when we are dealing with them, because our strength currently lies in acting in unison. So yes, as a Ghanaian, it's a good move to have to accept the deportees and use it as a bargaining chip to have other concessions. I will even urge the government to try and still see if they can have a reduction in the tariffs that were imposed on us, since the Trump administration have become more a little bit favorable, leaning towards Ghana. But then, as I said, if you come to the African collective posture in dealing with issues affecting Africa, then that deal falls short of that standard. But as a Ghanaian, if I want to take it as Ghana and a nation pursuing its own interest, then it is all good.
What do we do going forward? His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is the one that spoke loudly as he did. Other African leaders have heard him. Do you think that there's a step he has to take following this statement, this hard statement, or other African leaders have heard him and they probably will work in their respective countries to achieve a common goal?
Of course, while it is President Mahama's speech that seems to be on social media, particularly within our social media space, there were other African leaders who equally made very important points on that day. And if you listen across the African leaders, they seem to have found that independent voice. If you put collectively what they say together, they have demonstrated their displeasure with the current global structure. They have demonstrated their displeasure with certain policies, be it the war in Gaza, be it the migration policies of the US and other issues. So collectively, when you listen carefully to the speeches that African leaders delivered at the UN General Assembly, you have a sense that Africa wants a world that is different from what we currently have. Now, so for President Mahama, he could actually put a lot of weight to what he has said at the UN General Assembly by first getting Ghana out of all the difficulties that we are currently experiencing. Of course, there have been positives in terms of the economy recovering from the crisis that we had since 2022. That is something to start with. And of course, we also seen him trying to ensure Ghana's control over our gold resources. So he has to move on with that and try and get other deals more favorable to Ghana, mineral mining agreement that give more to Ghana, and maybe begin to work more with other leaders in West Africa concerning common issues like migration, concerning issues of how we can collectively within the South region own more of our resources. So yes, he has a lot to do in terms of even within our country to show that the speech that he gave was not just the rhetoric, but there's reality to it. So, and as I said, the first point is that take control of at least your own mineral resources. Try and grow an economy that favor your own citizens. So the whole bit of favoring foreign direct investors over the local investors, there should be a change in thinking where the local investor is treated with the same privileges as we seem to be giving to foreign direct investors, because you don't grow an economy and lift it up to the level we are thinking of by just pursuing foreign direct investors who, at the end of the day, will repatriate their profit. You need to invest in local champions. Let me use that word, local champions, local businesses that will become the Ghanaian brand that are competing globally. Yeah. You need to support them to stand on their feet. At the end of the day, those will become the areas where the economy will be seen as, they will rather be more positive towards the economy. They will rather help Ghana maintain a lot of economic stability than the focus on foreign direct investment. So let's have a level playing field for both the local investors and the foreigners, so that a foreigner will not invest and have a tax holiday for so many years, while the local investor starts today and is being asked to pay taxes. That's one. And of course, as I said, he must also begin to reach out to other African leaders on his through his foreign minister, through all the available means to him, and see how collectively they can strengthen the regional arrangement, the continental arrangement in terms of AU, in terms of ECOWAS. How do they strengthen them to make them more effective in solving African problems, so that by the time the issue that Africans face do not even need to get to a UN or any other place, the conflict in Africa, he can play a role in solving them. So yes, he has a lot to do to demonstrate that it's not just mere rhetoric, that Africa is ready. Africa is ready to lead, and Ghana, for that matter, is ready to step up to the plate. Of course, we are currently at an IMF assistant, and the best thing that could happen is to come out of this IMF deal without going back. So he must put in the economic structures that ensure that Ghana comes out of the latest IMF deal and at least is able to manage itself for 10 to 20 years without the need to return there. For the past 10 years, we have only been able to manage ourselves for 3 years without IMF support. That is not the country that can force change in the world. That's a country that will be contained by the world. Yeah. So he must be ready to to put the structures in place that will sustain Ghana beyond an IMF supported economy. That's important. So there are so many things he can do to give substance to all the things that he has said during the UN General Assembly.
Dr. Ishmael Hlovo, International Relations Lecturer at the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so my main place of work is University of Education, Winnipeg, not Guinea.
Oh, okay. University of Education. Oh, apologies. Big deal. Apologies. Thank you. University of Education. He is a lecturer at the International Relations Lecturer at University of Education. Doc, thank you for your time. Thank you for speaking to us. He's Dr. Ishmael Hlovo. Right. We'll draw the curtain here on Good Afternoon Ghana. We've had discussions with the MPP, and also we've had something to do with Mahama Cares program. That's the fund that's making sure that our non-communicable diseases will also be taken care of. Ghana Medical Trust Fund. Ghana Medical Trust Fund. Thank you. We're back tomorrow with Good Afternoon Ghana. Akwese Friye will also come take us through what is going on within the business world, and then we'll also finish it up on Friday. Good afternoon.
With God, comfort can replace pain, peace can replace turmoil, hope can replace sorrow. God loves you, God hears you, God speaks to you in your thoughts, in your heart, and through living prophets. Come, hear the words God has for you.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
That isn't it so sweet? Yes, that was thoughtful of him. What is wrong with you? I don't understand. I don't understand. Haven't I told you to minimize the way you give attention and bring light to this very guy? I thought we would agree what he said. Why did you want me? That was just a harmless or less than harmless or harmless problem did. Listen, sis, I've told you. You shouldn't be giving in to every little attention you get from a man. It makes you look cheap. And if you